the biggest story this offseason for the Bruins finally coming to a conclusion. Jeremy Swayman signing a contract with the Bruins. Everybody can exhale now. 8 years, $8.25 million per. The two sides reaching an agreement before rosters had to be finalized on Monday. Judd, before we hear from the Bruins goaltender, just your initial reaction and thoughts to the deal finally getting done.
It's fantastic news, and I think a number of things come to mind, Adam. And it's not necessarily about the number. I think Jeremy Swayman wanted to be a Bruin, and the Bruins made it clear throughout the entire process that they wanted him to be a Bruin, and they wanted him to be a Bruin long term. The other thing that comes to mind is the GM Don Sweeney had mentioned before this was resolved that not only was he disappointed, but he realizes that the Bruins are a much better team when he's in their lineup. Well, now he is. He's one of the best young goaltenders in the National Hockey League. Goaltending should once again be a strength for the Bruins. Last year, this was a team that was 5th overall in the league defensively, 3rd in the league in save percentage. And I think when it comes to any negotiation, Adam, each side has to feel like they won something. But at the same time, it's about compromise, so maybe they didn't get exactly what they wanted, both for the Bruins and for Jeremy Swayman. But that's what compromise is about. And what I really loved about Jeremy Swayman's press conference, and I know we're going to talk a little bit further about Jeremy Swayman, is that whatever happened leading up to this contract getting signed, he said, to borrow his word, it's a blur. It's all in the past. And the only thing that he's looking forward to is being a Bruin for the next 8 years. Had a chance to talk with him on the plane, talk with him again at practice leading into the opener against the Florida Panthers. He is so excited, and so are his teammates.
Yeah, he was all smiles walking into the press room before Don Sweeney made the announcement. He addressed the general media. And then, fortunately, I had a chance to talk with him after that availability. And here now is that interview.
Mark, how excited are you to get things started tomorrow against the Panthers?
I'm so excited. It's been a long summer.
Jeremy, first off, congratulations. I know you talked about what it means to you, but the moment you signed on the dotted line, what was the first thing you thought of? What was going through your mind?
Just an incredible amount of gratitude and all the hard work that it took to get here. Really a truly surreal moment, Adam, and it's probably one of those pinch me moments a couple days from now when it finally really kicks in. But to see that dotted line and see Sween sign off on it, that was a long road to that finish line. So a really incredible moment.
Who was the first person you got in touch with?
Papa Sway. Yeah, Papa Sway. He's got a whole new job now. He's got to come to Boston and help me move in and find stuff. So it's going to be a fun chapter for us for sure, and I'm really excited about it.
I know you were gracious enough to join us for the Jimmy Fun Telethon. I asked you one question about the contract situation. You said you were confident that you would get a deal done, but did that confidence ever waver?
It didn't waver. It's just amazing the different routes it takes and the obstacles you have to go through, and again the doors that open and others that close, and that was a part of this process that, again, it makes me a better person and a definitely a well-rounded individual with understanding how things can go and negotiations can go. So I'm grateful for everything, and again, I couldn't be more happy to be a Boston Bruin and being a part of every Jimmy telethon I could possibly be. So it's going to be a really incredible ride.
In terms of getting back on the ice, have you circled, I know Joonas is starting on Tuesday night, he's already been announced, but have you circled Thursday as possible debut?
Of course. And again, it's going to be such a fun ride with Joonas, and obviously he's a tremendous goaltender and a great human being, and we've kept in touch throughout this entire process, and I just know that we're going to lean on each other quite a bit this year, and I can't wait for that. I know it's going to be an incredible year for both of us, so whatever we can both do to help this team win, I'm focused on that.
And finally, I'll just ask you, the kid from Alaska, he said that during the press conference, you went to Maine, became part of the Bruins organization. Now you're going to be here for another 8 years at least. Do you feel like you're a Bostonian? You're one of us?
I'm one of us. Yeah, I'm one of you guys is right. And, oh, man, it's an incredible feeling, truly, to have finally gotten this opportunity to really create roots and start something special. And I think the sky's the limit on what I can provide to help this city grow and give back in a way, because it's given so much to me and my family. So I'm really excited to do the same and really ingrain myself in this community.
And Jeremy, thanks for your time, and look forward to seeing you play as a member of the Boston Bruins for years to come.
Likewise. Thanks, Adam.
So that's Jeremy Swayman after the press conference with the media. And one of the things that stood out to me about that interview, and really just about Jeremy Swayman overall, is, he really wants to be a part of the community as well. The Jimmy Fund Radio Telethon, he made an appearance on that, Judd. He wasn't scheduled to appear. And when he wasn't on the schedule, he said, no, I want to be on. I want to be a part of this. And he came on. He gave his time. He knew the question about the contract would inevitably come. He was gracious in his answer with that. And, another quick story about Swayman, just talking about his character for a second, Judd. Last year during the preseason, the Bruins were in Philly, and the game against the Flyers had just wrapped up. And on that day, Tim Wakefield passed. And, obviously everybody at NESN, Red Sox Nation, throughout the baseball community were in mourning. And, Jeremy Swayman was available after the game. And he, as I walked up to him, he asked me, he said, hey, before we answer questions about the game, could I say a couple of words about Wake? And I really was just so impressed by the fact that he would take time to talk about that, and B, that he would think about that he has a really true understanding about what it means to be an athlete in Boston. And I was really impressed with that. And again, and even before the press conference, Judd, when this long, awaited contract, that he and the Bruins finally came in agreement to, Don Sweeney makes his comments. And before he talks about the contract, he made a point to express his condolences to Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Gaudreau, and the Gaudreau family. He and Johnny had shared the same agent, Louis Gross, and that was a very emotional, for everybody connected to the Gaudreau family. And he thought of that. That was the first thing he said. I was very, very impressed with that.
Whether it's what he did yesterday, talking about the Gaudreau brothers, or talking about Tim Wakefield a year ago during the preseason. Adam, in the big picture, I remember early in the business, somebody said to me, one of the highest compliments that you can pay to another coworker or another person is he or she gets it. And Jeremy Swayman gets it. Those are the things that he understands. And I think the other thing that's apparent, and it's a little thing for me, so he calls you by name. He said, thank you, Adam. He references you by name. When he got on the plane, he didn't just stop to talk to everybody and all of his fellow players and talk to the trainers and talk to the brass. He came to the back of the plane to talk to all of us. And one of the things that listen, he's talked about in the past, and it's genuine with a guy like Jeremy, is that he considers the Bruins family. And that was another reason why I thought this was going to get done. He wanted to stay here. He wanted to be a Bruin. And the Bruins, at the same time, they felt the same way. They wanted this to get done. The other thing, in thinking about his press conference and his interview with you, I think he's a little bit older. He's 25, and he understands that there are different routes, as he said, that you undergo during the course of a negotiation. And I think it's important that he understands it, and he understands it as business, and it's behind him. I remember a general manager who's still in the league mentioned to me many years ago, this was another thing that was brought up, when it comes to the National Hockey League, great game, lousy business. So these things come up, and they come up with players, they come up around other things revolving around your roster, and you have to be able to put that stuff in the past so you can perform at your best. And I expect that Jeremy Swayman will be at his best across the 8 years.